the one, the only, Ben Sion. Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Iyun Mitzion. Today we're doing Shekalim, Perek Beis, Mishnah Gimel and Dalet. And Mishnah Dalet talks about that the Machzah Shekel wasn't always the same amount. In Bayis Rishon, it was Machzah Shekel, which according to the Mefarshim here seems to be a half of a sela. Sela is comprised of 4 dinarim, so Machzah Shekel would be 2 dinarim. And that was the value. Now, when they came back in Bayis Sheni, the Mishnah says that the value changed. It went up because they didn't use the currency in Eretz Yisrael. They used the currency where they came from in the Golda, Madai Oparas, the kingdom of Achashverosh. So they used to give a darkonos, right, which was 2 slime. They gave half of 2 slime, which was 1 sela, right? It used to be in the time of Bayis Rishon, it was Machzah Shekel, right? Half of a shekel. A shekel is called a sela. Instead they gave a full sela. That was Machzah Shekel. And eventually the coin, the currency changed again. The Mishnah ends off, the Mishnah in the middle says, Ubo lishkol dinarim. Bikshu lishkol dinar. They wanted at the end to give dinarim, which according to Rav Bar Tanura was less than the standard amount that they gave in Bayis Rishon. And they wanted to give, instead of giving Machzah Shekel, which would be half of a sela, which would be basically a shekel, they wanted to give half of that, which would be, instead of 2 dinar, they give 1 dinar. And even though it doesn't say this in the Mishnah, Rav Bar Tanura adds in, the Chum didn't let them, because the Chum said you have to give the minimum according to the Torah. The real shekel is a shekel in Bayis Rishon. In Bayis Rishon, it was half of a sela, which was 2 dinarim. And you're trying to give 1 dinar, you can't do that. It doesn't say in the Mishnah that lo shamu lahem. Ubikshu. So my interpretation of the dinar, because it's hard for me to understand Machzah Shekel is, let's say, the present day shekel here in Eretz Yisrael. A shekel in Eretz Yisrael is worth basically 3.5 shekels makes $1. That's basically the rate, been the rate for a while now. It goes up and down. But that means it's worth less than a quarter shekel. A quarter in America is a shekel. So half of that is, 10 cents? 10 cents for Machzah Shekel? That's kind of crazy. That's a very small amount. You could say it's a very small amount that all of Klal Yisrael is getting it together, but to give the Korban Sibur, it was used for the Korban Sibur of every year, but it's a very small amount. And the Mishnah talk about it gets lost. You have to make a shekel again. It seems like it's important, like it's worth something. So I would say that the real value of Machzah Shekel is always the value of the coin that's most valuable in the world. The currency that's the most valuable currency in the world. And in Bayis Rishon, whatever they had in Eretz Yisrael was the most valuable currency. It was the strongest kingdom in the world, Bayis Rishon, when they based on Mikdash the first time. That was the strongest currency. But you always go after the strongest currency in the world. And it just so happens to be that the strongest currency in the world, people think, you could ask people, what's the strongest currency in the world? Which currency, the base currency, is worth the most? Most people will say in America, they'll say the dollar. They don't know anything else. There's no other countries in the world besides America. Other people in Europe, they'll probably say, in Europe, they'll probably say the euro, which is not true. And other people in England, they know better. They'll say the pound, right? The sterling pound in England really is the currency which is used by a lot of people. That is worth the most. It's worth, about $1.50. It fluctuates, right? Euro's worth about $1.25. So $1.25. The pound closer to $1.50. But the truth is, if you the Kuwaiti dinar, it's called a dinar. The Kuwaiti dinar in Kuwait is worth over $3 usually. $3. So the most expensive currency in the world right now is the dinar. So when Mishnah says ubikshu lishkol dinarim, it could be it's talking about now. There's a lot of countries that use the currency of a dinar. You didn't know that. There really are a lot of Arab countries. There's like 8 or 9 countries that use the currency of a dinar. One of them is Kuwait. The Kuwaiti dinar is the most expensive currency in the world. Half of that would be about $1.50 or $1.60, which makes a lot of sense. That would be something significant, right? Machzah Shekel, the shekel is the most valuable currency in the world. And that's what the Mishnah means. A big lishkol dinar. Eventually, the Mishnah are written for nowadays also. Ubikshu is just telling you what's going to be in the future. The future is going to be dinar. It doesn't say that Chum said you can't do that. In the future, it's going to be dinar. Let's talk about the currency change. It's going to be dinar. So nowadays, I believe machzah shekel. You don't have to give it because no base on Mikdash anymore. But there is a zeichel machzah shekel before Purim. So you should really be giving a machzah shekel. It should be about $1.60, $1.70. That's what I believe. I hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.